They said you couldn't nuke, destined to be a gunbuffer, as they said. Wouldn't you like to clear such accusations a bit? Rhino didn't choose to say anything, but rather he would choose to meditate instead. I suppose that you wouldn't need to prove anything. You could do it all the time, you just don't want it. Maybe just this time. Would you do it to show what you are capable of for me? Rhino still chooses to keep quiet, but no longer he meditates. I guess this is where we should begin. Rhino is a nuker by choice. You probably never heard of this quote before or even imagine it being a reality. Rhino excels phenomenally at making guns become insane. He had massive amounts of tools available, from the well-knowns like Norwich to Tempest Barrage, Sentient Rev, Rest and Rage, and so on. There are so many ways Rhino could make a weapon shine, even with those that cannot crit. Why? Because he had piercing raw ready for it. Rhino being a phenomenal gun frame doesn't mean he is bad at doing things with his own hands. It's not that Rhino cannot kill without weapons, it is all about choice. Do you wish to take the matter into your own hands? That's the question you need to ask yourself. Before we get into the showcases, let's talk about possible candidates first. There are so many you could make use of, but only a few will cut it. Those that doesn't make it into the video might just be as good. It's just that I think these are worth the mention. You can't just expect Chirinka Pillar alone to suddenly nuke like crazy in the hands of Rhino. Though, it doesn't mean that it won't work. It works, but it is way more effort for too little. Definitely pick me material, but obviously not your daily driver build. This is specially for you though, but I digress. By the way, this is an endgame setup. Things used here are not cheap. Need not to feel discouraged if you are not there yet. Everything here is obviously me trying to prove a point. It is not the only Rhino build you will need. Yeah, Darkverse. Barely anyone gives a f about this subsumable ability. It is very self-explanatory. It deals 1250 slash damage with guaranteed status that hits twice to everyone in the 60-degree angle 20 meters ahead of you, for a total of 2500 slash damage. You don't need a lot of range modded due to its line of sight requirement, but some should do. Just focus on getting yourself a good energy economy and you are good to go. A primer will generally prefer because it allows viral status, which will definitely help, so why not? But oh well, it is as one-dimensional as one could think of. Just spam Darkverse or prime your enemies and spam Darkverse. Such interactive gameplay, to be honest. I like many abilities that tends to struggle against acolytes. This one did an insanely good job at it. 2 casts of Darkverse basically guarantees their death, which is not seen on other frames. Speaking about who is capable to do so, have you heard of Aqua Blades, that Yoreli ability? This thing can also do it comfortably, but unlike Darkverse, it allows actual scaling that makes primer not so mandatory. Surging Blades. Basically, it allows you to stack the damage of Aqua Blades, and as the number goes up, the more damage you can deal. It is just that simple. Its hitbox is also very misleading. In reality, it has an assumed thickness of approximately 3 to 5 meters that allows something like this. It is especially powerful when you are in a tight hallway where enemies will beeline towards you, and should you take advantage of it. Eximus practically stands little chance against this. One toss and they are done for most of the time. But I do think we can take this further. A merciful slow death is not enough. How about a death you don't even know it happened? I see no remnants up here. Still fondly remember that someone in the forums told me that he'd shoot down their overguard, use Shroud and Rift to insta-kill them. Though who needs to shoot anyways? You don't even need primer for this. After 410 strength, anything you touch is basically insta-kill. No matter the level, no matter their armor or shields. All you need is a single cast across the path and LMAO. Just let your enemies cry about it. Though KPM wise, it is not the most stellar ones, but it performs well throughout all levels. Guess that's the trade-off for it, I suppose. Acolyte wise, not the best as well, but just press Storm and melee affliction that boy at this point. You could even use this against Demolists, and with that strength, they will die in 3 hits. You can bring any weapon that can comfortably clear the enemy and just use Rift against the Demolists, making this some of the easiest level cap run one could do. Stay tuned for it though. While Rift is very insane for its power but lacks in clearing, and some who packs good clearing but lacks in power to scale, it's very easy to assume that you can get the very best of both worlds as you could only choose one of them. But would you believe me that I say it exists? An abomination that I sincerely fear to talk about. The world that burns under the plague bringer. They used to believe that gods don't exist until they lay their eyes on one. Maybe they will understand the sheer hopelessness, the consequences of their naivety. Your death will not be an easy one, as gods will say. Perhaps they will learn, but who could even make sure they truly learn their lesson? Only the corpses will tell. These are the builds I think that are remotely interesting, but might be situational, or they are just not my favorite ones. Let's kick things up to a moderate notch with Larva and its augment Lava Burst. Basically, it deals toxin damage with guaranteed status within 8 meters. The damage also scales additionally with enemy count, which can be very potent against enemy without armor, especially against corpus. Not my favorite ones, but it is notable. Speaking about notable, there is also one that is pretty damn good. If Rift is also infinitely scalable, I do think that Defy is the case as well. Since it scales with enemy damage, you can turn this into a level cap nuke easily, but the use case in the normal daily missions is unfortunately not as much as others. It relies on enemy density way more to perform, and you really cannot CC your enemies at all, unlike other nukes. But the power is there when the conditions are met. Rhino is a nuker by choice. Do you believe me now? It's not that Rhino cannot kill by its own, it's just that Rhino can choose whether he wants it or not. For Rhino, gun focus or ability focus playstyle is just a thin line between. And oh wait, the builds. Let's be honest, it is just the typical animalistic style with slight variances. Energy wise, your typical equilibrium should work. Arcane should be the typical mode augmented. For Dark Verse, I go Arcane Steadfast as well just to make sure. Aqua Blades wise, I add in mode Vigor to allow over 400% strength on Raw and Aqua Blades. The rest is just mode efficiency. Shot wise, get yourself some starting energy with energy start shots, and some casting speed as well. If you have additional shots, Crimson Shard for strength is a good choice. If you don't want to use equilibrium, 2 tile yellow shards will do the job fine. If the build requires augment, just remember to use the respective augment. If the build needs range, just mod more range and balance between good range and high amount of strength. If you choose to go negative efficiency, should you invest in more energy economy to counter it? If not, one singular equilibrium or 2 tile yellow should do. If it is casting heavy, add in streamline or arcane steadfast or arcane energize just to make sure, or streamline with either steadfast or energize. All builds today will be using Madurai for casting speed and more strength. And yeah, that's it. Should you evaluate yourself on how should you build Rhino? I guess that's all for today. See you all next time. Goodbye.